Steven, thank you so much for the voice submission and thank you for the kind words. I truly do appreciate it. If anybody is interested in checking out Steven's channel where he does music, I will link his channel in the episode notes. Go ahead, check it out, give him a subscription, a subscribe. It is completely free. Go check it out. Now, I am all for using unconventional microphones. I was going to throw on the AEA KU5A. F that. We're going off the rails. We're using a microphone that I have not reviewed yet. We're jumping on the Royer R10. And then I am going to walk through some EQ, compression, and show you what I did there and share my thoughts on how to approach processing a microphone. Alrighty, we are now on the Royer R10. It is, of course, a different microphone than the one that you are using, so this won't be an exact comparison or an exact piece of advice, but this will give us a baseline to play off of. As far as the figure eight polar pattern, the first thing I can say is play the dead area, because figure eight microphones have some of the best rejection from 90 degrees. If you have a loud computer fan, if you have a loud sound source, a window that lets in traffic, face the microphone so 90 degrees is pointed at that sound source, or maybe even use this to place the other speaker in 90 degrees. That way, the microphone is canceling out as much of that person as possible, and you get as little bleed between the microphones as you can. Also, as you already know, you will need to use a pop filter. You do not want to pop a ribbon microphone, so you're already doing that right. And now I will just ramble for a little bit, and we will then go and look at an EQ, which you will see on the screen right now. I'm playing with this in post. Alrighty, I have Logic Pro open, I have my audio sample input into Logic Pro, and I have an EQ and a compressor added to the signal chain. Before I do anything to the audio, the first piece of advice that I want to offer is do not run away from the sound of the microphones that you're using. You are probably one of the few people who will be using Coles 4038s on your show. Embrace that. Love it, and just make minor adjustments to improve the listening experience. That's what I did with the Royer R10. I did not try to make it sound like a completely different microphone. I didn't add a 10 dB air boost and a 75 dB cut to the low mids or anything like that. It's all very subtle, minute things. Let's jump over to the screen and I'll show you what I did. First EQ filter that I added was an 82 Hz high-pass filter at 12 dB per octave, and then I added a -1 dB cut at 141 Hz with a 0.88 Q. This just clears up a little bit of the lows and the low mids, makes it a little bit clearer sounding. I will play with and without both of these EQ filters on. And now I will just ramble for a little bit, and we will then go and look at an EQ, which you will see on the screen right now. I'm playing with this in post, and you are seeing what I am doing. I don't know what I am doing in post because I have not done this yet. And if you get right on top of the mic, it's not overly aggressive. It's not changing the tone of my voice. It's not changing the tone of the microphone too much. It is removing unnecessary frequencies below 80, 70, 60 hertz, depending on the microphone, and then cleaning up a little bit of mud around 140 hertz. Not changing the tone much, but improving upon it for spoken word. And the only other thing that I did, because like I said, I don't want you to change the tone of the microphone, I want you to embrace it, I added a slight high shelf to it of 2 dB at 3040 hertz to just open it up a little bit and add a little bit more clarity to it. I will play with and without the high shelf, starting without and then with. And now I will just ramble for a little bit, and we will then go and look at an EQ, which you will see on the screen right now. I'm playing with this in post, and you are seeing what I am doing. I don't know what I am doing in post because I have not done this yet. And if you get right on top of the microphone, get a bit more bass, and then you can play around with that. But I think that is all the EQ that I'm doing. So I will once again play without the EQ at all, and then with the EQ so you can hear the difference that we're adding to the microphone. And now I will just ramble for a little bit, and we will then go and look at an EQ, which you will see on the screen right now. I'm playing with this in post, and you are seeing what I am doing. I don't know what I am doing in post because I have not done this yet. And if you get right on top of the microphone, get a bit more bass, and then you can play around with that. But I think using unconventional microphones for a podcast is amazing. And the second thing that I would add to it is a compressor. And for this example, I just used the stock compressor in Logic Pro and I loaded up the narration vocal preset. I don't want too much compression on this because I have found once you get overly aggressive with a compressor, it can muddy up a recording, especially with a darker microphone like a Ribbon. So I just want to get maybe -2 dB of gain reduction, maybe -3 at the most. I'll play without and with the compressor. And now I will just ramble for a little bit, and we will then go and look at an EQ, which you will see on the screen right now. I'm playing with this in post, and you are seeing what I am doing. I don't know what I am doing in post because I have not done this yet. Very simple, very straightforward. Again, my main advice is do not run away from the microphone that you're using. Take pride in the fact that you're using the Coles 4038. You have a classic broadcast Ribbon microphone. Embrace it. Let people know that you're using something unique. Goof around about it. Make some jokes about it. When I was using the KU5A, I made plenty of assertions that I was the only person stupid enough and crazy enough to be using a Ribbon microphone for a podcast. A Ribbon microphone that's $1,200. I don't remember what the 4038s are, but I think they're up there as well. Embrace it. Embrace the fact that you're using those microphones. Something that drives me crazy, and I'm going off on a tangent here, is when people buy a microphone and then attempt to make it sound like something else. If you're buying a microphone because you like the sound of it, use that microphone and get the sound out of the microphone that you bought it for. Don't buy an SM7B and think, I don't like the sound of it, I'm going to try to make it sound like a U87. That's silly. If you want that, if you want a U87 sound, save up, get a WA87, save up, get a U87. Save up your money and get the microphone that you actually want. You're not going to get a 7B and make it sound like a U87 or an RE20 or any other microphone. I'm not going to use the U67 and try to make it sound like a U87. I'm not going to get an RE20 and try to make it sound like an SM7B. I'm not going to get a Royer R10 and try to make it sound like a Coles 4038. If I want a Coles 4038 sound, I'm going to try to find a way to get the Coles 4038. If I have the Coles 4038, I'm going to embrace the fact that I have a Coles 4038 and use that sound of the microphone to my advantage. As far as it being pleasing to listen to, Ribbon microphones, in my opinion, are some of the smoothest, most pleasing, and soothing sounding microphones to listen to because they almost completely lack any kind of harshness and sibilance. It makes it incredibly easy to listen for long periods of time. The one downside you do have to Ribbons is they are significantly darker, and if you overly compress them, or if somebody is listening in a very noisy environment, it may be difficult for them to have the intelligibility of speech. So that is why I did add that slight air boost, the treble and air boost on the EQ to add a little bit of that in. And you can get a little bit more aggressive with it if you think that people are going to be listening in poor listening environments. But as a whole, I say embrace it, play around with it, have fun with it, and great set of microphones, man. I cannot wait to get my hands on a 5038. 4038? Why did I forget the model number? Just absolute brain fart right there. I hope that helped. I hope that provided you some context and some ideas. I truly appreciate you sending that in and sharing how it sounds on the pianos and the drums. I thought that was super cool. And if anybody else has microphones that they want to send in to talk about on the show, include some samples like that. I think that is amazing and it provides additional context.
Hi, Bandrew. Thanks for having me on. My name is Steven and I'm a huge fan. I really like your podcast and your podcastage stuff, and your mic reviews are always on point and really entertaining. So thanks for that. This is the Coles 4038 ribbon microphone. It was developed by the BBC back in the 50s as a television and radio broadcast mic, and later on it was used by a bunch of recording engineers as just a studio mic because they sound so good. So I use them on drums and piano, and they sound absolutely phenomenal. I love these mics. So yeah, I have a pair of these, and here is the question. So me and a friend are trying to start a podcast, and because these are the only quality mics that I own, the others being not so great, I was wondering what you think if I use these on podcasts. Now, these are, ribbon microphones, so first of all, they're really dark, and second of all, they have a figure eight pickup pattern, which means I have to, worry about placement and stuff. But I guess I have two main questions. First of all, do you think it's doable? And second of all, if you do think so, how do you think I should process the signal? Because these are kind of dark, right? And they don't really have a mainstream sound to them. So do you suggest that I put an EQ on the highs just to lift it up a bit? Or do you think I should, just keep it as natural as I can just to get the natural qualities of this microphone? Because I remember hearing somewhere where you said that the sound in a podcast should be easy to listen to. So what do you think of the sound on this microphone on my voice? And do you think I should use it on a podcast? Because this is a heavy microphone. I need to use pop screens and a sturdy stand. The stand has a freaking counterweight on it because this microphone is so heavy. So yeah, those are the two questions. Thank you very much for having me on. All the music I record are on my YouTube channel, which is just my name, Steven Zhu. And yeah, thank you so much.